man is basically your friend who helps you, like, if you're trying to get with somebody, your friend is gonna help you start a conversation.
I won't lie to you, this guy's cheaters, all of them, all of them.
Why shop anywhere else when we've got Santa savings for all this festive season? When you shop the Skyworth 55-inch UHD Google TV for $7,999, save $2,500. Or this Packard Bell Montenero Celeron laptop for $3,999 to kickstart your 2024 study year. Or this JVC trolley speaker for a jolly $2,999, save $500. Price is valid until 24 December 2023. T's and C's apply. Hi-Fi Corp, your #1 deal destination.
It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8. But you're by Eswatini TV. I'm Sanabo Ngwane. I'm with Zamanza Manza. We're coming to you live from the Hospital Hill Studios in Babane. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. And for your top stories at 8, let's take a look. The Deputy Prime Minister Thulisile Dladla has asked Eswatini to come together and help the government mobile support for hailstorm affected Eswatini. South Korea has donated 190 laptops and 35 multifunctional printers to the University of Eswatini. And the Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini has announced sessional committee chairpersons before the House. Hello again, and now for the news in detail. We begin here. The Deputy Prime Minister Thulisile Dladla has asked Eswatini to come together and help with the government mobile support for hailstorm affected Eswatini. Deputy Prime Minister says some of the hit Eswatini are struggling to make ends meet as is.
Some parts of the Kingdom of Eswatini were hit by a hailstorm last week Friday, leaving a trail of damage in cars, structures and fields. The Deputy Prime Minister Thulisile Dladla has asked for Eswatini to collaboratively mobilize support for hailstorm-impacted Eswatini.
Lokho kubambisana bengicela ke nekusho ukuthi akhona ke Eswatini le kusukela uma eva lombiko abona kumedia ukuthi kwendekene lamanye athi cela kunikela ngemathayeli labanye bathi sifuna ukufika khona sibone ukuthi singasita kuphi nyalo nje NDMA ucoordinator konke lokho umoya lomuhle lo eMaswatini uthi ngamunye wethu masivelelwe sehlakala singahlali ibhek sithi uhulumende utakwenda kepha uma sibambisana ukhombisa iunity. So bengingacela nje la ngoba thina sicashwe ngilabantu laba lebalinyalelo noma nje sengiloyo khokha lithayela linye uthenga lithayela linye kutakwakha incumbi yemathayela sikhona ukuthi laba lokungavuthi lutho uhulumende ke so uyakhona ke naye kungeda ngoba lo monakalo awukho emathayeleni kuphela lo mnyango ngathi mina ngawuthenga iglass.
The National Disaster Management Agency reports that over 5,000 Eswatini were affected by the hailstorm. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Siwekoza with Zimuva Shongwe Manzini.
The Deputy Prime Minister Thulisile Dladla has encouraged Tingundla elected officials to work collaboratively towards the socio-economic development of the country. Deputy Prime Minister was speaking during the induction of the officials in a meeting that was also attended by the Minister of Tingundla, Skhumbuzo Dlamini.
The Minister of Tingundla Administration and Development has hosted a day-and-a-half induction conference for Tingundla elected officials. Speaking when officially opening the meeting, the Deputy Prime Minister Thulisile Dladla said Tingundla elected officials are key to the country's socio-economic development.
Njalo kusiphokophele ukuthi lelive leli wonke umuntu abese ezingeni lelisetulu aphila kamnanzi uma ngikubuka nako ngikuyekela leli vele litawufika njani lapha. Banyenti bantfwana, teenage pregnancy, iledulu. Namuhla ke ngibeka licala thine sonke. Ungaba bucopho, ungaba indvuna yenkundla, ungaba ngu-MP, ungaba ngu-minister, ungaba ngubabe lonjanjani emangweni. Asikubambeni sonke kanye kanye sikwekhude. Siphenze futhi labantwana sibadvonse. Sithi masiya enkundleni sifike ukuthi i-program of action yethu nayo lenzawo yethu la imiphakathi lengaka sesinebantwana labadrope out of school leni.
The Minister of Tingundla Sikhumbuzo Dlamini assured eMaswati of improved service delivery.
I-first world ayisiko khashana idude kakhulu kulokuthi wonke umuntu ufuna athentele okufanele sizasethembise ke mhlo DPM lokuthi nathi silitiko letinkundla sitakwenza konke vele kusemandleni lokuthi le first world bayibone bayiphathe labantu lamaswati lawa lasithume umsebenzi atayiphatha le first world ngokuthi sitimisele lama services labafuna kwalabantu efike ngesikhathi lekube abedude nabo.
Manzini Regional Administrator Prince Gija echoed the minister's remarks on collaboration.
Tinkundla tisho kunye, tinkundla tisho kudevelop, sikanye kanye kungasali namunye ngemuva. Tinkundla tisho ukuthi sibambane silekelelane.
The Minister of Tingundla is there to host the second leg of Tingundla elected officials induction workshop under the Manzini region. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suyokoza with Zimuva Shongwe, Manzini.
South Korea has donated 190 laptops and 35 multifunctional printers to the University of Eswatini. Accepting the donation was the Minister of Education, Owen Ngumalo, who then thanked the government of South Korea, stating that the laptops will help the university as it has now introduced blended learning where students are needed to use technology.
South Korea's ambassador says the relations between Eswatini and South Korea spans for over 55 years. He states that they will continue supporting the country in different sectors.
I'm very pleased to note that the relations between our two countries have continued to deepen since the establishment of diplomatic ties in 1968. And this year marks 55 years of cooperation and friendship.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Polile Shakantu, says the laptops and printers will play a major role in advancing information and technology programs at the university.
Eswatini would like to appreciate the kind gesture that we continuously receive from you, and we acknowledge the critical and important role that ICT plays in the attainment of its political and socio-economic development.
The Minister of Education, Owen Ngumalo, has thanked the government of South Korea for the donation. He says with the university having introduced blended learning, the equipment will be of great help.
Noma le donation setithelo debudlelwane lobukhona evela seSwatini neseveli seSouth Korea. Siyethemba lokuthi lama laptops atawu improve kufundza kwebafundzi lapha euniversity.
According to the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Justice Twala, the university has about 8,000 students and just over 2,000 laptops. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Matsapa.
The Minister of Commerce, Mangoba Khumalo, has applauded the Republic of China, Taiwan, for tirelessly supporting different sectors in Eswatini, which has seen growth of entrepreneurs. Khumalo was speaking at the Royal Villas on Monday when closing stage 1 of the capacity building project for microfinance, focusing on grassroots women in Eswatini, which has been supported by the Republic of China, Taiwan.
The project started in November 2020 and has benefited over 6,000 women who have been skilled in financial literacy and being entrepreneurs, amongst other skills. Speaking during the closing of Phase 1 of Kusalamfati project, the Minister of Commerce, Mangoba Khumalo, applauded the Taiwan Embassy for educating grassroots women in Eswatini.
The project has also played a major role during the celebration of International Women's Day and Mother's Day, where it made sure that the rural women equally participated and were educated on the themes for the past 3 years. This showed that the project had rural women at heart. The exposure of the rural women to such a celebration widened their scope and were made aware of the human rights and updated on contemporary issues surrounding the livelihood of women and their plight.
Taiwan Ambassador Jeremy Liang says they want to ensure that they empower women in Eswatini, especially grassroots women and rural women.
The main object of the project was to empower the women at the grassroots level with knowledge and skills on entrepreneurship management. It also aimed at improving access to quality financial services for the women. From the presentation on the impact of the project, it has been revealed that the phase 1 of the project focused on the building capacity amongst the women and the rural circles. This was done so as to prepare the women and the circles for the phase 2, which we will focus on making credit available for establishment and recapitalizations of the women businesses.
On another note, Minister Khumalo then launched Stage 2, which will focus on mentorship called Subatsamage. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kiani Msibi. Let's move ashongwe at the Royal Villas Ezulwini.
The Senate President Linda Dlamini has announced sessional committee chairpersons before the House. The Senate also voted for chairpersons for portfolio committees.
When the Senate resumed its parliamentary business on Monday, Senate President Senator Linda Dlamini announced before the House chairs of the sessional committees.
Administration and Development imbonga ombani wosicokoma bese kulo committee tunita ukuvula ukuthi imbonga babe shift mathe uwavakashela onke lawo ma comment. Bese committee 3 we now have Ministry of Education and Training imbonga babe shift Jozani Mazia, and then the Ministry of Public Service imbonga babe shift Zabeni Shiba, the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, imbonga Elmosa Mvoti, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, imbonga Lizingosi, the Ministry of Defense, yes, Ministry of Defense, imbonga Skombeni Dlamini, the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, imbonga Umbani Ngosi Ngenge Dlamini. Bese kutsili tiko la agriculture imbonga Fezeka Dlamini. Again, we have a member who loba go onke lama committee imbonga Ngosikati Lamafimbe. Ngathi nglawo timbonga ema committees, committee 1, 2 and 3 less now.
The Senate also elected and voted for chairpersons for the Senate portfolio committees. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Swekoza, Parliament.
Government and different organizations who are in the forefront in the fight against gender-based violence say the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence was a success, and so people reporting different forms of abuse and stakeholders as well as government were able to reach quite a number of people during the 16 days of activism against violence.
The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence started on the 25th last month till the 10th this month. Government and organizations were discouraging any forms of violence which had become a norm in Eswatini. They say the 16 days had been a success.
We saw quite a number of people standing up. We had a campaign by the police, various organizations, including the media. So that was really quite impressive. Even also as an organization, we had lined up a number of activities, including dialogues, including sessions for couples, plus a lot of other things.
The level of solidarity that we have seen amongst organization, government, corporate sector, communities, individuals everyone standing up against gender-based violence.
The data that we have reflects that we have received 974 cases that were reported just from the 25th of November until the 10th of December. And out of these cases, there were 424 that were reported by male survivors and about 451 that were reported by female survivors through the SWAGA toll-free line. From the received report from the toll-free line is to mention is that we are seeing men also coming forward to report cases of violence that happen among them.
They agreed on one accord and one voice that this should be a 365 days practice, not only during this time of the year. For Eswatini TV News, I am Kian MCB, Babane.
Residents of Eswatini have been trained on ways to protect themselves against different crimes, including cybercrime, which seems to be rife during the festive season. Now, the Chief Executive Officer, Matokoza Shongwe, says crime has a potential of negatively impacting the economy, even if it happens in cities.
We want to alert residents to be, alert in terms of how they take care of their own safety. We've brought in people who deal with security, various forms of security, from cybercrime, cybersecurity, to crime which happens within the banking sector, and also within the houses. Are you protected? Are you sure that if you go out on holiday, is your house safe?
Nokuthula Hlophe, Eswatini Communications Commission's cybercrime manager, says they sensitize the public on cybercrime.
We go to the communities to teach the elderly about what to do as they use their online media platforms or their mobile wallets. And we also talk to everyone. Actually, we've got a radio channel. We talk to everyone about what is happening, the trends, the current trends, and we try to let people know about the law that exists, which is our Computer Crime and Cybercrime Act of 2022. And we're teaching people about the crimes that are on that act and how they may find themselves on the wrong if they don't follow.
A resident of Ezulwini, Muzi Masugu, says the training has given him knowledge on how he can protect himself from different crimes.
The armed patrol is the level to which they're actually effective in assisting us to curb a crime.
He further states that he fully understands that he has a role to play in ensuring that his personal information is safe so that it cannot be used for crime purposes. In an effort to combat cybercrime, the Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology has enacted the Computer and Cybercrime Act of 2022, which has stipulated fines of up to 10 million emalangeni depending on a crime committed. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Nothile Sithole and Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
Right, with that we move further afield and take a look at news making headlines internationally. More than 100 Israeli soldiers have been killed since the beginning of the ground offensive attack on the Gaza Strip. Now, the Israeli army said this on Monday.
The increase on the number of Israeli soldiers killed in Gaza comes after Israel bombed the southern Gaza city following a Hamas warning on Sunday that no Israeli hostages will leave the territory alive unless its demands for prisoner release were met. According to the Hamas media office, 17,997 have been killed, 45,500 injured, and 7,600 missing since the war. The European Foreign Ministry on Monday considered possible next steps in response to the Middle East crisis, including a crackdown on Hamas finances and travel bans for Israeli settlers responsible for violence in the West Bank. The United Nations estimates 1.9 million of Gaza's 2.4 million people have been displaced from their homes. Meanwhile, in Sudan, according to the International Committee of Red Cross, 2 people have been killed in an attack on aid convoy in Sudan. The incident, which occurred in the Al-Shajara neighborhood, also injured 7 more people, including 3 Red Cross staff members. The injured have been rushed to hospital for medical attention. The International Committee of Red Cross convoy, which was consisting of 3 vehicles and 3 buses, was due to evacuate over 100 vulnerable civilians. The head of delegation at International Committee of Red Cross, Piri Dobbs, condemned the act, and he conveyed his heartfelt condolences to the deceased and wished a full recovery to the injured. On another hand, according to the United Kingdom's Defence Ministry, the Royal Navy will transfer 2 of its mine hunter ships to Ukraine in a bid to strengthen the country's sea abilities and help to reopen vital export routes, which are limited since Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. The Defense Secretary in the United Kingdom says the bid to improve Ukraine's navy marks the beginning of a new dedicated effort by the United Kingdom, Norway and their allies to strengthen Ukraine's marine capabilities to defend their sovereign waters and bolstering security in the Black Sea. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I'm Pendulo Kumbi, visual sourced from France 24 and DW.
Coming back home, we shift gears now into the world of business. We'll take a look at financial indicators that will give us a sense of how markets fared today in our financial report.
It can be.
Welcome back. And now in the world of sports, Eswatini Chess Association President Dumsani Msibi says playing in the Eswatini Open will give local players the necessary exposure in competing with international players. Msibi was speaking during the games that was attended by some international players coming from different countries in Manzini.
Eswatini Chess Association this past weekend hosted the Eswatini Open Chess Tournament, which is the biggest tournament in the country and is played as the last tournament of the year. The tournament attracts international chess players, mostly from the SADC region. This year, countries like Mozambique, South Africa, Lesotho and Botswana were part of the tournament. Eswatini Chess President Dumsani Msibi says the tournament is important because it gives the necessary exposure to the Eswatini players.
Cishe ekupheleni kweminyaka imqoka ke lemidlalo lona ngilapho khona sizama khona ukuthi si-expose abadlali bethu ukuthi babe ne-international experience. So far kungqono lonyaka kusadlaleka sinabo nje abadlali bethu le cishe badlala kulama top boards sethemba ukuthi cishe kutawuhamba kahle.
Tapelo Molefe from Botswana had this to say.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is still a growing major force in terms of as far as chess is concerned. So them managing to bring different nationalities to the country impacts positively because there are kids being coached by these gentlemen and all these schools they've developed chess into. So these kids see this kind of setups, they get inspired and it really helps in growing chess in the country.
The association highlighted that the year wasn't as great as they would have wanted, but they are still happy with what they did. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwa Msibi, Manzini.
In football news, the head coach of the girls under-15 team, Tami Dlamini, says when they go for the schools games in Zimbabwe for SADC schools, development will be their objectives. Now, Dlamini was speaking during the team's training session at Technical Center in Lobamba.
The Eswatini Football Association is currently preparing under-15 boys and girls for a school ball games that will include schools coming from the SADC region. When the team was preparing for these games, the head coach highlighted that they are going to Zimbabwe to help the players develop.
Ngicabanga kakhulu sithi vele basebancane it's about lokuba develop. So kuwina ngeke sithi asikufuni but nje the main focus lokuba develop aphindze futhi babe nale international exposure. I think for them kutabasita kakhulu lokho at their age ukuthi sebakile badlala internationally.
Boys team player Thandolwethu Dlamini had this to say on his team.
Our team is focused. It is no matter it's been a short time. We have been here for a short time, but we have good communication and the team is working well and hard.
What can you promise the nation while you're going to Zimbabwe? What can you promise?
For sure, we'll do our best. We'll work hard and for sure we'll get something there.
The games will be played in Zimbabwe starting from the 14th to the 16th of December 2023. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwa Msibi, Lobamba.
Well, with those sports news, we hit the home stretch of the news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick reminder of news-making headlines tonight. The Deputy Prime Minister Thulisile Dladla has asked Eswatini to come together and help the government mobile support for hailstorm affected Eswatini. South Korea has donated 190 laptops and 35 multifunctional printers to the University of Eswatini. And the Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini has announced sessional committee chairpersons before the House. Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini. That's how we come to the conclusion of the news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. Thanks so much for choosing to stay with us. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it's good night and God bless.
I'm the Met Groove.
I-ball beef nalapha nema-salad beetroot ayisali bese sekuba nema-takeaway bese kuba khona lo mkhanza sekaphethe 6 wema-takeaway.
Right person's head when they come across a black cat or an owl.
A wingman is basically your friend who helps you, like, if you're trying to get with somebody, your friend is gonna help you start a conversation.
I won't lie to you, this guy's cheaters, all of them, all of them.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds, full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, to feel the rush of life overwhelm you, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. You ask,